Right guys, so this is gonna be a breakdown of a photo shoot I had 1 year ago. Haven't made a video about it yet, but here it is. I usually contact my models through Instagram, just DM them, are you down to shoot, yes or no. She had never done modeling before, but it went pretty easy. We made around 5 different light setups, but we used only 2 lights. The 60 watt Godox, which is pretty shit. I do not like that light, but that's the one I have. And then one of these light tubes up here, Nanlite pavotube 30C. First setup is just to set the light tube at a blue hue, and then I used this one to make like a spotlight for my main light, and I tried to separate her from the background a little bit with this spotlight. My goal for this photo shoot was just to actually experiment and just try out different light setups with a blank wall, my model, just see what we came up with. So I always show the model the pictures that I take so that she can actually change something if there's something that she's not aware of, that you should be able to correct that as a photographer, but sometimes she's just not aware of how the pictures look. And if you want a full breakdown how I schedule with a model to the finished product and everything, you should definitely comment if you want to see that. So my next light setup is pretty similar. I used the same tiny little snoot right here to get this spotlight effect, and then I had a red gel that I just put over that. And then I also gave her this Super 8 camera right here because I wanted to have an object. Maybe it could look like she's in a dark room or something. Not really, but it's just fun to experiment with different stuff. And this next one is actually my favorite. The only thing I did here was to keep the same light setup, tilt the red gel light away from her face, and just told her to look dead into the camera, stare into the camera. And this is the final result. I just love the image. I love that it just has one color. That's the thing I actually recommend people to try to shoot one colored images, because you really have to think about what's in your image and just the contrast of the whole image. It's almost like shooting black and white just with color. I also tried some other colors, but I don't feel like these worked out, so I didn't even include these pictures in my final edits. And then there's the next pictures. Again, same 2 lights, but I turned the light tube a little bit down on the saturation. So now it's more like almost like a very cold temperature blue light. And then I also put on my softbox with a grid so it doesn't bleed too much into the background. And I really love this image. I think I also used like a prism here to actually get this effect that you see on the bottom of the image. We also tried to get some film photos with my analog film camera, 35mm. Might remember that I used 800 Portra here. And then for the final look, we actually changed the location a little bit. We went actually to her kitchen, and I put the light tube on a stand outside her window because I wanted to create this moonlight effect on her. A little bit of a moody, if you may, light from outside the window. So I always like to put lights outside a window if I can, so that I get this normal, pretty natural cast from outside the window atmosphere. I wanted to have it like a little bit mysterious. Could have maybe added a knife in there so she looked maybe like a killer or something, just to make up a story right there. But yeah, that is real quick how we made all these light setup. I hope you learned something from these. The light setup was actually just main light on the right side and the light tube on the left side, and we just kept it there and just played with strength of the light and hues and modifiers on the main light. Really cool to see what you can actually do and experiment with. And yeah, that's it. Peace.